What's up, guys? I've been getting a lot of questions on European mounts, what I do and what I do for this, and when they run into an issue, what they should do with that. And you know what, today I'm going to run over some of the things I do for European mounting. You know, you can still do a European mount if your skull is broken, or all of a sudden if, you know, a dog chewed the nose off, or there's all kinds of horror stories with European mounts. So let's run through the few options. Say you're out hunting, Wyoming, Nebraska, you name it. I live in Minnesota. Minnesota will not allow you to transport any brain tissue or spinal tissue or fluid back into Minnesota. So you're out there, you need to clean your skull. Either you bring all the gear along to simmer or boil, as some would say, but it's simmer a skull out in that state to get it all clean before you get back home. Or you could purchase a Wyoming Wildlife Production mount, take your sheaths off your antelope out there, which is very easy. Or you can either cut your horns off of your whitetail, you cut them off right below the burrs on the bottom, and reattach it with the square pegs. You don't have to hardly do any, gross work. I'll show you some clips of some of the nastiness that you have to deal with by boiling right now. And yeah, a lot of people are going to get pretty squeamish around it. I mean, I have people walk in my garage and they're like, what is that smell? That is disgusting. But that's part of doing European mounts, so whether you want to do that or not. Alright guys, well this is one of the things I don't mind after this hunting season. I don't mind dealing with all this and doing European mounts. But some of you aren't going to want to deal with pulling out eyes, blending brains, dealing with all this gunk. Otherwise, you can pick up the Wyoming Wildlife Productions reproduction. I think they have two different sizes in whitetail, because older whitetails versus a young whitetail, with teeth or without teeth. They have mule deer the same, antelope the same, and then I think they have some elk as well. So a lot of options out there. Nice thing about these two is you can have them hydro dipped. This antelope, this is hydro dipped in this kind of patina metal look, which I think is sweet. But lots of options there, and they can do that so it's done before it even gets shipped to you. If you want to try do it yourself, hey, go right ahead. Check out WHITEBONE Creations YouTube channel. I could make videos, but I would never come up to his standard. He makes some awesome videos on pretty much every animal, and I would say North America. He's covered every aspect of whitetail, mule deer, antelope, and all kinds of small games. So check that out, WHITEBONE Creations. Awesome videos. That's where I check a lot of stuff out. They have got the detail down to every little bone, crevice, and line, fracture lines, you name it. Got the nasal cavity in there, teeth. This whitetail reproduction is the best one I've seen on the market so far to match up to a real whitetail skull. Wyoming Wildlife Productions has whitetail, mule deer, antelope, and elk all in their product line, with teeth or without. And look at this detail. Right there on the left, that is a Wyoming Wildlife Production product at its finest. So, take your sheaths off, and you can slip them right over top of this with minimal work. So there's sanding to be done there to get that sheath down to about 1/4 inch above the skull so it sits normal. I mean, look at that. That is crazy. If you guys want to go for a cheaper alternative, you can check out mountain mics. I have a mountain mics right here. That was my wife's first buck ever. Back in here. I mean, up on the wall, you're not going to notice that much, and a lot of people have never noticed that that's not a real skull, but it's a plastic. I mean, I think you can hear that. It's pretty plastic, it's cheap, it's quick, but if you want a quality mount with a lot of detail, that's what I was looking for. I was looking for something up above these mountain mics with a little more detail to them to look a little more realistic. I'm kind of picky when it comes to that. A lot more detail. You can't hardly tell the difference between that and a real skull, and they're just super quality. You get a lot more weight to them, they feel more realistic, which is nice. A lot more realism to it. You got that fine detail. a fine detail that the Mountain Mike's doesn't have. Alright guys, well now that you've seen all the different variations, we've got real, a pretty base level of reproduction, and then the Wyoming Wildlife Productions, they're, I would say, at the top right now as far as reproductions that I've seen. Check them out. I'll put a link down below, WYOMINGWildlifeProductions.com. And yeah, any questions you have about European mounts, throw them in the comment section below. Check these out. That's a real reproduction. That flat black one's real. Back here you have a real whitetail, and then the reproduction whitetail, and then the Mountain Mike's in the very back, and then this one I just did last night. That's a real whitetail skull, but it was kind of it was a dead head. It was old head, skin hanging out, a lot of nasty stuff. Got it stripped down, kind of lightly sanded it, threw that gunmetal gray kind of patina paint on it, and it looks good now. So there's lots of different things you can do with European mounting, and it's growing all the time. There's so many things to learn and so many things to pick up. So if you want to do it, you can do it at home, do it yourself, or you can pick up one of these kits, pick up the stuff to do it yourself, or you can talk to your local taxidermist and somebody will do it for you. You know, it's going to cost more. Nothing's cheap these days. Taxidermy just keeps going up and up and up all the time. But you know what? Shipping goes up. All of their equipment goes up. All the materials keeps going up. So try it out yourself. Save a few bucks. I personally love a real skull. I love not having to detach the horns off anything, no skull plates, not having to mold or paint or anything like that. But then you come into the issues where you find a dead head. Maybe the dead head's chewed off by wolves or coyotes. You know, the nose, they tend to go for the nose right away, so it's missing a nose. Well then, you know what? If you want it to be on the wall, you got to find either a Wyoming Wildlife Productions product or a Mountain Mike product or any other brand out there, and you got to put the horns on that. So there's situations where a real skull isn't always going to work. So that's where I came into these. I wanted to find some products and I want to share with you my opinion. Like I said, I love a real skull. I love shoulder mounts, but not everybody can afford a shoulder mount. So that's where a European mount comes into play. You can, you know, have somebody do a European mount for you, and it could cost anywhere from, I've seen prices as low as, you know, $75 to as high as $200. Alright guys, well that's my input on European mounts. There's so many different ways to do it. Beetle clean, boil, macerate, which is just let it sit in water and naturally rot off. There's a lot of different ways and tips and tricks. You can pick up a really quality product from Wyoming Wildlife Productions. Check out their website, WYOMINGWildlifeProductions.com, and they have all their products and a lot of information on there. But that's it for me on European mounts. You can paint them, you can hydro dip them, you can actually metal coat them. I mean, it's coming along a long ways as far as just the bare bone skull anymore. There's so many more options. Any questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments. I'm going to throw a bunch of links down low in the description. And yeah, do a European mount next time you shoot a buck. Give it a whirl. We'll catch you guys later.